Australia fights back against invader species. The nearly 1 foot, 10-pound cane toad might strike visitors to Australia as just one more example of the country's notoriously bizarre fauna. In reality, this amphibian is not native, but one of many human-introduced species currently ravaging the ecosystem down under. Originally from South America, the cane toad was introduced by the sugar industry in 1935 in a misguided attempt to control two sugarcane pests, the grey-backed cane beetle and the Frenchy beetle. Unfortunately, no one noticed that the toad doesn't generally eat these bugs, though it successfully devoured other native insects to the point of extinction. Moreover, the poisonous toad instantly kills any predator that attempts to eat it, particularly the quoll, Australia's marsupial cat, and giant native lizards. The cane toad is not an isolated incident for Australia, but disturbingly typical of the ecological problems on the island continent. Australia's native wildlife is almost entirely endemic, having evolved in virtual isolation from the rest of the world. The fauna includes koalas, kangaroos, duck-billed platypi, and wallabies, but no placental mammals. The first introduction by humans was probably dingoes, brought by early aborigines in the form of pets almost 7,000 years ago. Larger introductions began with European colonization in the mid-1800s. Colonists thought the ecosystem badly flawed because it lacked the wildlife to which they were accustomed, and so stocked the country with deer, rabbit, and pheasant to provide favorite foods. Foxes for hunting, and a wide variety of other species for sheer familiarity. The effort proved a disastrous success. One notable disaster occurred in 1859 when British colonist Thomas Austin imported 24 rabbits for sport hunting. The population quickly exploded to more than 200 million, devouring native grasses, brush, and tree sprouts, and turning grassland and farmland into dusty desert. Cattle, goats, and sheep exacerbated the problem with relentless grazing, resulting in diminished food, and fewer hiding places for small marsupials such as the hare wallaby, the bilby, and the bandicoot. Their populations crashed. Troubles continued from another introduced predator, the European red fox, which proved itself highly effective. Preying on native mammals too big to hide in the ground and too small to defend themselves, like wallabies and rat kangaroos. Wherever foxes and rabbits have appeared, native mammals have vanished. Many efforts have been undertaken to control these invaders, particularly the rabbits, which cause approximately $20 million annually in agricultural damage alone. Exclusion fences and poisoning require constant maintenance, however, and are often overwhelmed by the rabbit's astronomical reproduction rates. In the 1950s, the government released a disease called myxomatosis, which killed 90% of the animals it infected, an ideal solution until the rabbits recovered and developed resistance. Moreover, the disease carrier, a flea, can't survive in the arid conditions of much of the country. And so the Australian Animal and Plant Control Commission was forced to introduce an even hardier Spanish flea. While larger animals may be the most obvious alien invaders, they are hardly alone. According to the Australian government, almost 10% of all the plant life in Australia is alien to the country. The most infamous example, the prickly pear cactus, was brought early 1900s as a hedging plant to keep livestock under control. It quickly ran wild, overtaking the Australian desert, but was eventually checked by the introduction of the Cactoblastus, a cactus-hungry Mexican moth. The European zebra mussel, which caused billions of dollars of damage to America's Great Lakes, has now shown up in 2 of Australia's ports, most likely transported there by foreign ships. The Australian government responded by chlorinating the entire marina where the mussels were sighted, while it is still not clear if the chlorination killed all the zebra mussels.